Welcome back to The Verdict. This week we'll be looking at some of our favorite documentaries, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Jazmin. Today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Michael and Rashawn.
What's up?
Our first documentary we'll be looking at today is Conversations with the Killer, the Ted Bundy Tapes. It's a docuseries that was released on Netflix in 2019 and it was created by Joe Berlinger. Let's take a look at the trailer.
He didn't look like anybody's notion of somebody who would tear apart young girls.
My name is Ted Bundy. I've never spoken to anybody about this. I am looking for an opportunity to tell the story as best I can.
A person of this type chooses his victim for a reason. Possession, control, violence.
So guys, there's been some documentaries released lately about, infamous serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and obviously some of this has led to kind of a glorification of those serial killers. What do you guys think about that? Do you think the documentaries are responsible for that?
I wouldn't say they're responsible so much. They do add like a little bit of fuel to the fire, but I don't think they're responsible. I think it's just something that we as just a society have been infatuated with over the years, not even just with like real life serial killers, but like fake serial killers like Jason or Ghostface, or just for some reason we like it. I mean, there's those who are quote unquote normal that don't, but I mean, yeah, they just, it's weird. I wouldn't say they fuel it too much, but yeah.
Especially like people's suspense, like he said, like we glorify like serial killers like Freddy Krueger, all that stuff, and people are just fascinated that something like this could happen in real life. And I'm not saying that most people didn't live in like the era and didn't go through like the actual live scene, but like us, we don't have to like deal with Ted Bundy or nothing like roaming around our neighborhoods, hopefully.
At least not yet.
Yeah, not
yet.
on that scale at least. And
Yeah.
I get what you mean, but it's a little different when it comes to like horror movies, like you said, Jason, Freddy Krueger, because those are fiction, right? And I love a good horror movie, but with Ted Bundy specifically, I mean, he was a real person and he really hurt and victimized so many people. And specifically with like Jeffrey Dahmer, when that documentary came out last year, I know a lot of people bought like Halloween costumes to dress up as him for Halloween. I just think like that must be so difficult for like the families of the victims who are still around to have to see that and relive that trauma.
Yeah, and people like making money off of it too, off of those people's hurts. And
Exactly.
And it's weird too because only like after like watching this a bit, watching like the first 2 episodes, it got me thinking of American Psycho, which Ted Bundy's backstory, and then like I'm trying to remember, do you know what year that came out?
That was with Christian Bale. I believe it came out like maybe late 90s or early 2000s, around that time. So
you can see the maybe some of the inspiration from Ted Bundy to that, because from what I'm hearing, he was a great, like Ted Bundy, excellent lawyer, working on the freaking, can't think of words right now, Ronald Reagan campaign, all that stuff. It's just like, bro, the real life comparison to this is kind of crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
and how he can go like undetected for so long. It's just wild.
No, honestly.
Like he had this definitely planned out.
100%. He was very methodical, and he was quite intelligent. I'll give him that. After watching the documentary, I learned that he worked for the Seattle Crime Commission briefly about a year before the murders started in 1973. And, it's suspected that through working there, he gained kind of insider information about the gap between the different police jurisdictions, and how if he went to like certain spots in different cities, he could go undetected because they weren't communicating back and forth due to technology and other issues, which I think is quite interesting.
That stuff right there is like super scary. Like I can't.
Like just not living in the world like without technology. Because like I said, we were brought up with technology.
Exactly.
Because
So, like
Amish people.
Yeah, like these people had to be able to do that like all by themselves, like, and be able to work with each other to do that.
I totally agree. I mean, I think there's so much to delve into with those situations, and I definitely will be doing more independent research, but what would you guys rate that series on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, what do you think?
I would give it like a 6, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was good. Not great, but it was good. Something I probably wouldn't watch again just because I don't watch documentaries, but yeah.
Got you. Well, I'd probably give it like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
But yeah. Next, we'll be talking about fire fraud.
Yes. For my movie,
About to go to Fire Festival.
Could be amazing, could be a disaster.
Fire Festival was supposed to be the new Coachella, the new Burning Man.
Exclusivity with access to premier talent.
It was going to be an experience bordering on impossible. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen?
Some people have called you a sociopath. How do you respond to that?
so since you guys both watched this as well, have you guys ever been to a concert before? Ever like actually paid the tickets?
So I've been to like a traditional concert, but not like Coachella or anything like that.
Okay.
Like a music festival,
Yeah,
I've
not
been
like a
to like
festival.
concerts and stuff, but I haven't had like a full week concert or festival or anything like that.
See, I've never been to a concert, and after watching them like this, I am definitely afraid to like waste money on tickets like this. But what do you guys think the biggest lesson is like buying, like for people who buy tickets from this stuff? What's the biggest lesson after seeing how like crazy and how out of whack this whole thing went?
For personally me, I kind of realized that some people actually have money that they can just like throw away. Some of those tickets like were up to $100,000.
It's crazy.
And like thinking like me, I don't even know if like what I would do with $100,000 just for it to have like a weekend trip to the Bahamas just for a music festival. But the lesson I kind of figured out was if people are telling you, if you have an ambiguous idea and people are telling you to maybe back away from it, like have time to develop, maybe you should listen to him, because Billy McFarland, he gave them 6 months to prepare for that festival, and he had the bartender, I can't remember his name, and like different production crew members telling him, like, we can't do this in 6 months, we need more time.
More time,
and he just was like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and then it ended up being a failure.
100%. And he claimed that it was because, you know, he was scared of disappointing people, but like with the outcome of everything, I find that hard to believe, because he ended up scamming a bunch of people out of their money, and what bigger disappointment is there than that, than simply postponing it and having more time to get things together.
And the funny thing is, he thought having someone like Ja Rule to help him out would like would aid him.
The funniest thing I think about Ja Rule is that he didn't take any blame. He was like, yeah, I'm not a part of this at all when it failed. But like during it, he was like hyping it up. He was like, we can do this.
Yeah.
But like when it failed, he was not following with them.
Yeah, and that's very funny, because I feel like there are a lot of people like that. I mean, they're with you when there's success, but when things take a bad turn, then, oh, it's not me.
Well, speaking of that, do you think the people behind it, like everybody behind the scam, got away kind of easy, or do you think they were like punished fairly for what they did? Because personally, I'd be mad. I want to fight someone after losing all that money. No, obviously, everyone here, we're not financially stable.
Yeah, man.
We're college
not
students,
financially
so
stable. I would say
yeah.
we're all broke. We know what it's like when we have to waste money.
But to take like roughly $26 million away from somebody, is like, I think he deserved that 6 years. But
I agree, that is a very big deal. And he didn't just, you know, scam the people, he scammed investors as well. And he told them, oh, you know, if things go wrong, you'll get this amount back from your investment, whatever. That was a lie. He had nothing in place for precautions in terms of if things didn't turn out the way that he thought or hoped they would.
And one part of the documentary I do want to point out, he got a $3 million loan and then spent $1 million on alcohol.
Yeah.
Again, I'd fight him. I can't. Is he still? I'm trying to remember. He's still in prison, right?
Yeah,
no?
he's still serving his sentence.
Yet he's still in prison.
Yeah.
And yet there's a Fire Festival 2 happening. That baffles me.
Yeah.
Is his girlfriend? I'm trying to think who's setting this one up because it can't be his girlfriend, right? I hope not. I hope she left him. Please, for the sake of humanity, do not go to this. Learn the lesson that was supposed to be there last time. Do not go to the second Fire Festival, no matter what they promise. I don't care if freaking, if they get who's popular now, Ariana Grande or Jenna Ortega to show up just to do her little Wednesday dance, Yeah, I know, watching documentaries talking about Kanye showing up, I'm like, this is pre-2020 Kanye.
Exactly, and like Kendall Jenner and all that.
Yeah, I don't think he would be allowed to show up now. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm baffled. And then like, you guys saw in the documentary where it's like, they're reading through some of the scripts for like what families and friends have been saying, but it's all in a robotic voice. So I was like, they must have made this up. I doubt anyone really talked this way about Billy McFarland. And I'm just like, why couldn't you get them to actually say it? Because like, I'm not believing that they actually cared this much about him. Or like he's actually this good of a person. It was like, oh, he didn't mean to scam anybody. He didn't mean to do anything. Like, it's not helping your case here if you're just gonna talk like you're like a literal computer, you know?
True, and also like, even if that wasn't his intention going into it, it gets to a certain point where you know things are gonna go sideways, and you make a decision to follow through and keep doing what you shouldn't be doing, or not. Exactly. And he just couldn't admit that, oh, I messed up, I made a mistake, and kind of pull the reins back. He had the opportunity, he didn't take it, and that is on him.
See, and he had the same problem too with the whole card thing.
Magnus or like something like that.
Card, something like that. He had the whole same issue with the card thing, but
exactly.
I guess hopefully when he gets out of prison, he'll learn. If he doesn't, then well, sucks to be him.
Yeah, ambition can be definitely one adrenaline rush for sure.
100%.
But now let's give our review for the movie. So what do you guys rate the documentary on?
I'd probably give it like a 6. I think it was kind of like you said, the robotic voices kind of mellowed it out. Sometimes I was like losing focus on it, but like I said, it's a very interesting topic for sure, to say the least.
I would also rate it like a 5 or a 6, like you said, the monotone voices, but I feel like the message overall about, not being so wrapped up in social media and your, superficial image and things like that can kind of help to avoid situations like this.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you guys. I'm definitely going to give it like a 6. It wasn't that good of a documentary, but also, most of the stuff we knew in the documentary was already like, everybody already knew. So I'm just like, one, we didn't really need this. We already knew how much he messed up, so yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, for the final documentary though, I'll be discussing Cartel Land. It was released in 2015 and it's directed by Matthew Hyman.
Let's play the trailer.
The cartel scouts keep getting away.
El gobierno no proporciona las garantías de seguridad que el pueblo necesita. Nos podemos armar.
Si a ustedes les pasara lo que nos pasó a nosotros, estuvieran con nosotros.
They're taking back what is theirs from the cartel.
So, Cartel Land was about something we very likely don't have to witness in our state in Tennessee, but it's about, the Mexican state border and like how the cartel runs all the drug trades through towns, and it's a very impactful documentary to say the least. But is there like a lesson that you guys learned from it?
Don't do drugs. Don't get involved with the wrong people, and do not do drugs.
I agree. I do think it brought a lot of awareness to kind of issues that are going on in other countries and other places that we might not be faced with on a daily basis. And it might not be easy to watch those kind of things, but those are other people's realities or things they're having to live through and deal with, and that's their normalcy right now. And I think that's very important to talk about and think about as well.
Yeah, when they opened up in the funeral with like the line workers, I feel like that really struck a nerve with me because you saw like all the emotion between the families, especially like the daughter or the mother that lost her 2 daughters in it too. It's like very heart-wrenching. It's like this is what people have to go through in their lives, and we don't even think about that when we even wake up.
100%.
See, it's kind of interesting to me because like I watch a lot of like organized crime shows. Like I love watching The Sopranos. I love watching some. There's a series about the Yakuza. I can't remember what it's called, but Harlem Empire and all that other stuff. And it's just like seeing this with their organized crime, just a tad bit like their drug problem. I don't love the fact that they are all going like everyone has their own problems and love watching this. I love the fact that we are like now looking into it. We are now looking into other places' problems and slowly trying to see it. But I don't like it when like you see how they've become their own regime, the auto defensive, and they are slowly becoming the bad guys themselves. You know, they're pulling over innocent families,
raiding people's houses.
Exactly. That's the part I don't like. I don't like it when they become the villains. But it's necessary. But I know it's necessary to see all that.
Because especially like they just wanted to defend their towns that the government didn't want to do to begin with, and then I think his name was like Dr. Melissa or something like that. When he got paralyzed in a car accident, he gave his co-leader permission to do speak or events and stuff like that. That's kind of when you see the shift in it.
Exactly.
It's kind of sad to see because I was honestly rooting for him. Having to see all their pain they're going through, and they just want a better life. Yeah. Especially it brings up like the question of like immigrants trying to come into our country to get away from that, and like seeing people flee their lands that they've been like their whole life.
100%. I think that's a very good point because you're right. A lot of people are immigrating here to try to get away from those things, and I think it's very important to see like, wow, like this is some of the stuff that they're experiencing over there. Like this is why they want to leave. They want to have a better life, and it's important to recognize that, I feel like. And leaving the country that you grew up in, regardless of the circumstances, isn't easy because it's all you've ever known. And to be so brave to leave that behind and try to do something better is just amazing, in my opinion.
I do have to ask though, we do see another side of the story in the American side. I think his name was Tim Foley. What do you think about his kind of vigilante or his regime that picks up immigrant people and takes them to the U.S. to get them authorized?
I'm gonna let you have it first. I want to hear your thoughts.
I want to hear what you have to say about it. I'm curious.
Honestly, I thought I get his point, like taking in his matters on hand, because again, obviously our system is flawed, like all to heaven. Oh my God. But I do feel like at some parts he did go a little bit overboard. It's hard to put it into decent words, but it's like a neighborhood watch this is how I'm going to describe it as best I can. It's like a neighborhood watch watching what he did, trying to keep things orderly, but also trying to be a good citizen of the law. And it's just like sometimes you have to go over that boundary to truly protect your neighborhood, truly protect everything you want. So yeah, I feel like though he did kind of like maybe slightly push a boundary. I don't know. It's hard. I did feel a little awkward at moments, but yeah.
For sure, especially when he was trying to like make small talk with them too, just like kind of picking at him. I was like, dang, like where's your empathy? Like these people are literally trying to get out of their situation, like life or death situation, and you're just sending them right back to it.
And you got sometimes where like even the security guard, like not security, but like even the other officers, not even just them, but like even back home, they're beating up, they're like punching, kicking people already down, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, damn. Especially with with the dude with the family, they were following the white van. They pulled him over. You see the daughters crying and all that stuff.
Like if you take him out, I'll kill myself, or like, and that's like, you're really like just affecting that family's like whole life. That little girl could be scared for the rest of her life just because of that. She thinks she's losing her father.
I originally thought they were gonna let him go, like they were just gonna pull him aside and start talking, but they got the gun pulled on him and stuff. And just
they take him to that like little prison thing, little camp.
I definitely like the point that you made that there was a lack of empathy, and I hate that that's kind of the situation that it is, because we're not faced with that every day, and we don't know what specifically that's like. So it's hard for us to kind of put ourselves in their shoes, but I feel this documentary is so important for that reason, to see from both sides of it. So what would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give it a 9. I think this was the best documentary that we've watched for this show. I think it was more informative and definitely showed us a lot more than the other two.
What about you?
I honestly agree with Rashawn. I'd give it a 9 too.
Yeah.
Just because like the action pace of the documentary, like these filmmakers were literally in the scenes, in a war scene, just like showing us how they're living. So it's very impactful, to say the least.
I agree. I would rate it like an 8, especially because you're right. They were literally like being faced with war and violence, and it was so brave for them to go out there and do that and film it and capture it. And I feel like it is so important and so impactful for so many reasons. So yeah. Thanks again for joining us this week, and make sure to tune in next week for our first part of our Halloween special, the Friday the 13th edition.